I feel like most people in their lives are being allowed to live small.
It's hard to repeat as a champion because the hunger goes down just a little bit.
You're obsessed with what other people think about you. The thing that's gonna kill your dream is your addiction to other people's approval.
Want a soar?
Get a mentor.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and this channel was created to help you overcome the #1 challenge that is holding you back, a lack of belief in yourself. You watch these videos because you know there's something greater inside you. You have Michael Jordan level talent at something. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Ed Mylett, and some of his best life-changing advice. Mentor me, Ed. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1, play big.
I feel like most people in their lives are being allowed to live small. You're allowed to live a small life. Everyone around you would like you to live small. Just do this. You're good at that. Man, take it easy. Chill. When's enough enough? Like, come on, brother. You know where we all these messages you get is basically saying, hey, man, live small.
Yeah.
Life's not a big deal. Live small, enjoy it, chill, smoke a little weed, do whatever you want, right? Like, it's just this get by thing in life. And there's got to be some people who go, no, you're supposed to do something great with your life. You were put here for a purpose. Your way, the way you were born, the way you were raised, your background, your experiences, your giftedness all prepared you in your way for right now. And you're supposed to do something great with your life. You weren't born here to be average and ordinary. And there's all this messaging that you're average and ordinary, and you're average and ordinary because you belong there, and it's probably someone else's fault you're average and ordinary too. And I'm like, no, it's your life. You're in control. It's no one else's fault, and you're supposed to do something magnificent. That's the consciousness aspect. The last 1,000 years on earth, doing something great has been reserved to this one little group of people, 1% of the population. They're supposed to do something great. They're supposed to live their dreams. We're supposed to watch them, cheer for them, wear their jersey, watch their award show, comment on their posts, clean their houses, right? Feed them in their restaurants. No. The fact of the matter is, you can do those things. You can change your life. And I'm sick and tired of this hero worship. You live small, cheer for everybody else who lives big. No, if you're a school teacher, be the best damn school teacher. Change the world by those little lives you're affecting. If you're on social media, change the world. Play big. You will never do it wrong if your decision is to do the bigger thing than the smaller thing. That's what I would tell you. Stop playing small. Stop thinking small, and don't let anybody tell you you should be small.
Rule number 2, practice gratitude.
I had a really good friend of mine. I went to lunch and he said, I don't know who this guy is here in front of me. And he goes, let me ask you a question, honestly. Right now, what are you grateful for? And at the lunch, I said, jack shit. Nothing, brother. There's nothing good in my life right now. And I'm not exaggerating this to you when I tell you this, and this is a factual story. As I'm mouthing these words, 2 people walked in with an older man. Both of them clearly were fighting cancer somehow. Both had lost their hair. One of the ladies had a bonnet on, and they were barely moving in. Both walked by our table and gave me the most warm greeting, the warmest smile as a stranger. And he goes, that's pretty freaking pathetic. You can't find anything in your life to be grateful for right now. And on the drive home, I'm not kidding you, I started to stack gratitude. I started to take inventory, because if you can find things to be grateful for in that space, man, is your life going to be rich when there really are external things to be grateful for. So my first mechanism out of that space was honestly to stack the things I was grateful for, and I started reinforcing it over and over and over again. And what happens is there's this reticular activating system in our brains, right? And all of a sudden, because that's the messaging I was giving myself, all of a sudden, all these things start to come into my awareness that I'm grateful for. I start to magnetize to myself some people that I needed to find into my life, and that was the next layer. I started to see things to be grateful for. My health, my fitness, people who loved me. And what it did is it changed my state. When I stacked gratitude, I changed what I did in the morning, and I changed what I did in the evening. And so somehow by grabbing control of my morning and by grabbing control of my evening, I got some measure of control over the middle of my day. I was an out of control person back in those days, meaning this: I woke up worried, stressed, fearful, and I immediately start thinking about a bill I had to pay, something that was wrong. And I'm in a state of reaction to begin I'm talking within 6 minutes of waking up, 6 seconds. Most people listening to this, that's what they do. I said, I got to grab control of my morning, and I set up routines in my morning. Maybe they served me, maybe they didn't, but they were things I could deliver on doing for myself. And so not only did that give me control over the day, but I started to stack my self-confidence too.
Also, if you want to have more confidence, check out my 254 series. They are free. The links to join are in the description below.
The minute you begin to get external in your life, worrying about what other people think about you, right? You've lost all control, and it never fills you up.
Rule number 3, be hungry.
How bad do you want your goal right now? I think there's a lot of people in the world today, because it's a really niche thing to talk about, I want this is my outcome, this is my goal. Like, how bad do you want? Do you want it as bad as breathing? Do you want it as bad as anything you ever wanted in your life? And if you calibrate it at the highest enough levels, what I found is the people that are the hungriest, they find a way. When you know why you want something, when it's desperation, the power of being desperate is something that most people avoid. They think desperation is a weakness. And I'm here to tell you, desperation is one of the most powerful emotions you could possibly possess, because when you're desperate, you find reserves and reservoirs of ideas, talents, and a strength that you don't know you have when you find yourself in a desperate situation. So ironically, the one thing most people avoid in their life, hunger, which is caused by being desperate. When you're starving, you become desperate. Think of somebody who's starving on the street. They've got to, how resourceful would you get if your children were literally starving and you had to feed them, right? So the number one thing we need more than anything to win is hunger, which comes from a state of desperation. Yet we're constantly trying to comfort ourselves in the real world to avoid the state of being desperate. And I'm telling you that I think you need to embrace desperation again in your life. Like, do you want it so bad that you're desperate for it? See, in a fight, you show me two people. This is why it's so hard to repeat as a champion in the fighting game. Because you show me someone who's up and coming, who's hungry for that title, who's never had it before, who can taste it, who knows if they win that belt, their whole life's gonna change. They're gonna be champion of the world, all the endorsements, all the money, all their family life, all their parents' lives are gonna change. You show me somebody chasing that, hungry for it, against someone who's just trying to hold on to a title. And that's why most of the time the challenger beats the champ. It's hard to repeat as a champion because the hunger goes down just a little bit. The greatest athletes, the Kobes, the Bradys, the Jordans of sports, have a way of feeding their hunger all the time and increasing it. What separates them isn't just their work ethic, isn't just their talent, although those things matter, isn't just they practice more. What separates them is they're just hungrier. They somehow find a way as they climb up the ranks and win championships to get even hungrier for more, where 99% of the athletes lose just a little bit of their edge once they get that first championship, that first pro contract, that first big amount of money, that first world championship. They just lose their hunger a little bit. And then there's the elite. They get hungrier. It feeds the beast.
Rule number 4, keep the promises you make to you.
I've been getting asked lately about the struggles people are going through with self-doubt, not believing in themselves, negative thoughts about themselves. And I believe the solution to self-doubt is to build something bigger than that doubt, which is to build our self-confidence. And one thing to know about the fact that you doubt yourself is, one, I struggle with it as well. One of the reasons I've had to go learn to build all these tools for myself is because in my life, my baseball career, my academic career, my business career, my speaking career, I've been riddled with self-doubt. That creeps up all the time in our lives. Am I enough? Am I good enough? You weren't born doubting. You weren't born discouraged. You weren't born thinking negative things about yourself. Those were thoughts that were placed in you and given to you by an external source at some time in your life. It could even be our parents. Don't do that. Be quiet. Sit down. Be a good boy. Be a good girl. Maybe it was criticism you received as a little one that you may not even remember to this day. The process of building self-confidence is actually very easy, believe it or not. Self-confidence is self-trust. Self-confidence is building a reputation with yourself that you keep your word to you, that you keep the promises you make to you. When I meet somebody who has a ton of self-confidence, I don't look at that as somebody with a big ego. There's a difference. Somebody with self-confidence has a reputation with themselves that I do the things I say I'm going to do. That's where self-confidence comes from. When I meet someone who is not self-confident, I know this is someone who has consistently made promises to themselves they've not kept. They've started a diet and done it for a while but not kept it. They've made a commitment and goals to go make a certain amount of money in business, and they started down the road, but then they didn't deliver on it long term. To get up at a certain time of the morning, and then they don't do it. And so they have a process and a habit in their life, more often than not, of not keeping the promises they don't make to other people. They don't keep the promises they make to themselves. And so the cool thing is, self-confidence is an internal game. You do not need external accolades, external admiration in order to build self-confidence. You don't need any of those external forces. It's all done internally. You control this. And you control this by beginning today to keep the promises you make to yourself. And you have to stack the deck in your favor. Stack the game so you win. It's not good enough just to keep the promises you make to yourself. You must acknowledge it when you do it to you, to give yourself credit, to create confidence momentum, is what I call it. So whether that's setting the deck where you're going to get up a little bit earlier, you're going to make a certain amount of phone calls in your business, a certain amount of appointments, you're going to eat a certain amount of calories in your fitness, you're going to spend a certain amount of time with your children or your parents, and you begin to do these things you say you're going to do. You say simple things like, I'm going to lay out my clothes the night before I go to bed every night, before I go to sleep, so when I wake up that decision's made for me. And believe it or not, the fact that you just do something that simple that you then deliver on begins to build confidence. You say, I'm going to stretch in the morning when I get up, and you do it. All of a sudden, I'm not going to check my phone for 30 minutes. All these habits I teach, when you just begin to do the things you tell yourself you're going to do, you begin to build self-confidence, which is this reputation with yourself. So ask yourself a question right now. What is one thing right now, one promise I can make to myself that I'm going to begin to keep starting this minute? And begin to do it. It could be how often I'm going to pick up a book and read it. But you begin to stack things you commit to do, and then you deliver on them, and you acknowledge them to yourself. You're in the process of building self-confidence. Why is that so important? Of all the athletes I coach, when my athletes are performing at their peak level, they're at their highest self-confidence level. In fact, I love when I watch some of the athletes I coach get interviewed, and they kind of do this aw shucks, humble routine in their post-game interviews. Yeah, just part of the team, I got a lot, I could have done a lot better today. But inside, I know these people are incredibly self-confident people. Any of you athletes listening to this, you know this. The great athletes you know have incredible amounts of self-confidence. You have to believe in you when it's a battle, when you're a hitter against a pitcher, or when you're a quarterback against a defense, or you're a defenseman in the NHL against their best offensive player, or you're a golfer and you have to make a 9-foot putt to win a tournament, right? You better have self-confidence. In fact, the separator, more often than not at the highest level in sports, is not they're a better shooter or a better putter or throw the ball a little bit faster, because everybody throws hard in the major leagues nowadays, it seems, right? That separators their self-confidence. It's true in being a parent. It's true in being a business person. It's true in every area of our life. The separator at the top levels is self-confidence.
And rule number 5, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is take control of the script of your life.
You ever go to the movies, and at the end of the movie, they scroll down like the leading characters' names, and then what do they do if you keep watching it? Cab driver number 2, bouncer at the bar number 1. You ever see those faceless people? Far too many of you in your life are obsessed with what cab driver number 2 and bouncer number 1 think about what you're doing, instead of the lead characters. You're obsessed with what other people think about you. The thing that's gonna kill your dream is your addiction to other people's approval. And cab driver number 2, he ain't gonna approve of what you're doing. And at the end of your damn life, he's not gonna show up in any of the important chapters. Yet you give him all this power all the time. Stop giving people power who aren't in your book. Do your life for the leading character. You, your spouse, your children, your parents, your legacy. They're the lead characters in the story of you, of your life. Because the more you decide to take control of the narrative, of the script of your life, and you live your dream, the more likely at the end of your life, you're gonna meet that dude. You're gonna meet that woman.
Now I've got a special bonus clip from Ed on how to not go broke trying to look rich that I think you're gonna enjoy. But before that, it's time for the 3-point landing questions. Let's go from just watching a video to taking action. Here we go. Question number 1. Where do you need to take better control of the script of your life? Number 2, what promise did you make to yourself that you need to keep? And number 3, how are you going to play bigger? And if you're gonna take immediate action after watching this video, give me a #believe down in the comments as well.
Don't go broke trying to look rich. That's one thing everybody's doing right now. They're going broke trying to look rich. So here's what I am. I don't care where you put the money. There's guys out there saying it should be real estate, should be the stock market. If you don't save money when you're broke, This is the thing no one's telling you. If you don't save money when you're broke, I'm talking about 10 bucks a month, 20 bucks a month. The crazy belief system in the world is that you will save it once you make more. If you have a habit of spending, you will spend more when you make more. I know a lot of people who make a lot of money who have a Lamborghini or a car or a house that are dead broke. Dead broke. You all would be shocked by who's really rich and by who's really broke.
Yeah.
You'd be shocked because you either are a spender or you are a saver. When I was 26 years old, I made $750,000 that year, and I was living in a $750 a month apartment.
Right.
I saved and saved.
If you want to learn how to get rich with Ed Mylett, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
I made multiple six figures one year, and we lived in a $700 a month apartment. Yes, biggest money mistake I made in my life is investing in things that I don't understand.